This is Talking Football with Two Bald Guys. I'm Adam.
I'm Tony.
Tony, we've been doing fight songs as long, at the end of the college football season and into the playoffs. You know which one that one was?
Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame. Because we're down to two teams. We're down to two teams, and you knew I was not going to play the Ohio State fight song.
I would have probably got up and left if you played that because you've lost your mind or something's wrong with you.
Listen, as a Michigan fan, this is like my worst nightmare of a championship.
So you're still a fan of the 12-team playoff?
Yeah, I am. But
we'll talk about that in a second.
We'll talk about that. But the Notre Dame Ohio State, I don't think there's anything worse as a Michigan fan.
You couldn't have picked two worse teams for yourself.
But I'm 100% rooting for Notre Dame.
Well, you have to.
And this is like the only time I think.
Correct.
Well, not the only time but yes.
Correct. It's probably the only time you would root for Notre Dame is if they're playing Ohio State.
Correct.
But you want both to lose.
Can they
forfeit the game?
Forfeit the game. No, I don't want them to tie
because they'll split it.
They'll split it.
Yeah.
They'll split it. All right. We're going to get into that, and we're going to get into the NFL playoffs. A lot of good games there, some not so much. But before we do that, we are part of Elevation 5280 Sports. That's E5280sports.com. You can check our pod out there. You can check our pod out at other spots. But we highly encourage you to go to that website, check out the other pods that are going on there, not only ours.
Yeah, lots of good stuff on that website. Again, anywhere you get your podcast, you can find us. But yeah, go to elevation5280sports.com and check out all their good stuff.
And we continue to do our partnership with Happy Nuts. Correct. We've had some orders here. People have been,
thank you guys for ordering.
Yeah, thank you for ordering. I know Happy Nuts appreciates it too. Lots of good stuff there. Take care of your parts.
Yeah, Happy Nuts sprays and all these roll-on things for you so you don't chafe, and creams and powders for your special
parts. A bunch
of
stuff that you didn't think you actually needed.
But once you use it, you realize, wow, I need it.
Yeah, you need it. You need it. All right. But like we said, use our code. Sorry.
Yeah, Two Bald Guys 20. Get yourself 20% off.
Get yourself 20% off. Do that. All right. Let's start with college football because we got it coming up. We're down to one game left. We talked about Ohio State and Notre Dame. But you know what? I will give the credit to the Final Four. We finally got two really good football games in the Final Four. Notre Dame slipped by Penn State thanks to a boneheaded – it's not a boneheaded. Thanks to a bad pass by Drew Aller, Notre Dame, and Penn State when the game was tied.
Yep. And
then thanks to an Ohio State goal line stand. And we're going to get into the play calling because people apparently get stupid when they get down to the 1 yard line against Ohio State. But let's start with the Notre Dame-Penn State game. Okay. Penn State dominated the game for a lot of the first half. I didn't get to see much the first half.
It was defensive.
Because I was up north with my dad for a little bit. But it was 10-0.
It was defensive.
And it was defensive. But then Notre Dame made a run there at the end of the half to kind of get it. And then all of a sudden Notre Dame, they figured something out in the second half, and they moved the ball basically whenever they wanted.
Yeah, Penn State's defense and Notre Dame's defense kind of owned that first half. And actually, I thought Penn State ran the ball pretty well against that Notre Dame defense. And Notre Dame, but like you said, they came out that second half, and all of a sudden it was like, I don't know who made adjustments. Did James Franklin? I still don't think he really did. I mean, Notre Dame just kind of came out and did whatever they wanted to, and you're like, what happened to that Penn State defense?
Yeah, because they looked really, really good, obviously, for like a quarter and a half.
But then,
and then they gave up some points at the end of the half, and then the second half. They stopped Notre Dame a little bit, but for the most part, they didn't. They did get that big stop at the end of the game when they got the ball back when the game was tied at 24, I think is what it was. And
tied at 24.
And they had a chance to go down and kick a field goal, but Drew Aller made a pretty bad pass.
Rough pass.
But like we talked about it, James Franklin things. That wasn't a James Franklin because you got to go down and try and score points, right?
Correct.
I mean, they're in a position where it's not like they were down on their 5 where you're like, okay, we really probably don't have a chance to go down and kick a field goal. Let's just kneel on it or run the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they were in a spot where they only needed probably 20, 25 yards and they're in field goal range or something like that.
Correct.
And it just was a really bad pass, and it set Notre Dame up in great position.
Yeah, and then Notre Dame came out, Riley Leonard threw a big pass and got him in field goal range, and then that was pretty much the game there.
So Notre Dame, goes and then Ohio State won, and now Indiana fans are all like, the two teams that we lost to are in the championship.
That's
we talked about
exactly what they're saying.
And then we go to the Ohio State game where they went down the first possession and just scored.
And you're thinking, here we go again.
And I was like, here we go again. But Texas did take a page out of Michigan's defensive playbook, and they made Ohio State drive the ball, and they couldn't.
Correct.
the one boneheaded play is how do you let a screen pass with 28 seconds left to go in the first half go for a touchdown? That
hurt bad.
That was bad.
You texted me. I was like, how does that happen? I'm like, that was awful.
And they dropped like 7 guys back.
Yeah.
Like, how does that happen? But even then, they showed that you can slow Ohio State's offense down. I mean, they held
Jeremiah Smith
to
one reception for 3 yards.
Yeah.
Look what happens when you do that.
Yeah.
Like, take him, do whatever you have to eliminate him, and you can stay in this game. Texas offense has struggled quite a bit, even through the end of the regular season and into the playoffs a little bit. They've been struggling. We've questioned it for a while now. And Ohio State, a lot of great players over there. Texas just didn't have enough.
It was a little surprising at how much Texas offense struggled because, and I think it goes back to a little bit when Ewers got hurt. He was never quite the same.
Correct.
It looked like he even threw differently towards the end of the year. Maybe I'm just seeing things, but they struggled.
It felt like he wasn't comfortable in there.
And I text you too, and it might have been past your bedtime, so you didn't text me back.
It was for sure. It was 14-14 basically going into the fourth.
But
I mean, the game was still there.
It goes back to Will Howard didn't win him that game. Like
no,
the defense won him that game.
game.
So it's not like Will Howard played horribly, but he faces good defense and he struggles. Everybody wants to go back with, the game plan against Michigan was bad. Now maybe they shouldn't have run the ball up the middle, but Will Howard still had more, passing attempts and stuff like that against Michigan than he did against most of these teams.
Right.
If it comes down to Will Howard having to win you the game, I don't think he does it. He didn't have to. The defense saved him.
The defense saved him. It's a tie game, and then Judkins runs a touchdown. And then that fumble, the fumble that got taken back for 83 yards. That's pretty much what secured the game for Ohio State. But you're right. The defense won because Will Howard wasn't. 289 yards. He had a pick. I think he had threw a touchdown, but nothing crazy impressive. But he just did enough to keep the offense running. Judkins and Henderson kind of carried that offense a little bit.
But it comes back to if you make Ohio State drive,
correct,
over and over
they're
again,
not going to score.
They don't
like
score.
That.
Don't give up the big plays. And guess what? Texas, even with their offense struggling mightily, they didn't give up the big plays and allowed them to stay in that game. And then Ohio State. But then it gets down to the point is Texas finally had a drive. They got that big play. They got another big play. Guy pointed, got the penalty, but then they got a big play right after that. And then they get down to the 1 yard line.
Oh my!
Please explain to me.
Oh my gosh!
Why are you pitching?
Sarkisian's calling the plays.
Why did you pitch a ball?
Right when you're down that close.
If you're at the 1 yard line, I don't care what defense you're playing against. I would borderline go 4 straight times up the middle.
Right.
Maybe run it off tackle. So it's not straight at the middle, maybe a little bit. But what are you doing? Why are you pitching something outside? If you're running something outside, it better be like an RPO. But why are you pitching the ball?
And tosses.
Like, listen, we can say what we want about Ohio State. Their defense is quick.
Yeah,
they got good guys.
Yep.
You pitch the ball, and now you're at the 7 yard line.
Yards.
You lost 6 yards on that play.
So Penn State ran the ball 4 times up the middle and didn't get anything. So I don't know if that had a thought process like we can't do that. Try it once or twice, and then maybe a play action, something to the tight, like something else. But you're right. That pitch play, it's too risky. It cost them.
It's strung them out. It's like, I don't know why they thought they were going to get anywhere with that. Because
Ohio State's too fast. Too fast for that.
They're too fast. Pitches normally from that distance don't, because everybody's bunched up.
Too close.
Pitches can work. I think
you spread the field out a little bit.
You spread the field out, and safeties are back and stuff because they're not on top of you.
They're 5 yards away.
There's reason why you run quick running plays down at the 1 yard. Right. Now, if you don't want to go directly up the middle, like I said, maybe you run to off the tackle or a little bit of stretch play, maybe, but a stretch play that's inside the line, and all your line is there. You pitch the ball, there's nobody out there.
No, and you said, the linebackers or safeties are too close.
And then Ewers did hold the ball for a long time, all game. Sawyer picked it up. Listen,
80-some yards.
I will say this. I hate it. I liked it for my cousin because he did a live bet of 13.5 Ohio State winning by 13.
Really?
Yeah. And then he tried to make it up and had a 5.5 bet, and he won it all.
Wow.
And he won a lot more money than I would ever bet.
Wow.
Like,
good for him.
Good for him. He had to be sweating that when Texas got down to the one.
Yeah, no problem.
But they won that. So Ohio State wins. Notre Dame wins. Yeah. And then I'm just seeing these absolutely stupid tweets from Ohio State fans. They're like, Ohio State the way they're playing is one of the all-time great teams, up with Alabama
Correct.
and Georgia, who's won. They forgot to mention Michigan, and somebody posted as a reply, they're like, dude, last year's Michigan team would whip Ohio State. And somebody replied back, goes, dude, this year's Michigan team, they didn't whip them, but
they beat them. Yeah. If you're going to be the greatest team of all time, you don't have 2 losses, number one.
Thank you.
That's the first thing. And you don't lose to your rivalry, number 2. And you win your conference championship, which they didn't even play in.
Thank you.
So, like 2019 LSU, 01 Miami Hurricanes, like the 04 USC Trojans. Ohio State is not even close to on those levels. And then whichever Bama team, I can't remember, 16 or 17, whatever those Bama teams was ridiculous.
But I would in the Georgia team, the first undefeated
Georgia team was
the second one was really good, but the first one was awesome. And I know I'm going to be a homer a little bit, but last year's Michigan team was pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Pretty darn good.
No, Ohio State, not even close. They're just saying that because
good.
Ohio State's now going to beat Tennessee, Texas, Oregon, and possibly Notre Dame to win it all, which, okay, that's a pretty good stretch of wins.
It is. It is 100% a good stretch of wins. Oh, wait. But they want to claim this after beating Tennessee, who they whipped, but somebody else whipped somebody else, and that team doesn't belong. So does Tennessee really belong?
Correct.
And was that really a good win?
Right.
I mean, it was a good win. I'm not trying to take anything
because it's a playoff
away from what Ohio State's doing. They're still in the national championship game. Good for them. I hate it, but good for them. But, this isn't an all-time great team. They are very talented.
They're a great team.
They are very, very talented.
If this was last year, they wouldn't even be in the playoff.
If you're an all-time great team, maybe you lose to Oregon. Well, not really. You shouldn't lose, period. But maybe you lose to a team like Oregon. But there's no way you should have lost to Michigan.
You should,
not this year's.
You should win your conference championship.
That's a true statement.
Right. You should probably win that, or at least play for it.
Right.
At least play for it. If this was last year, they wouldn't even be in the 14 playoff. I mean, we've talked about that. Right. They wouldn't be in.
Right.
Because I think you could have put Oregon in. Oregon would have been in over them. I think Texas would have been in over them. Georgia, and then Notre Dame. They wouldn't even been in. They would have been left out. So as a Michigan fan, I can't help but think that last year it would have been better for you if you stick with the 14.
It would be.
Because you just have Notre Dame in there as a team that you hate.
It would. But you can't. It's all hindsight. It's all like.
No, I saw this coming. I predicted that you would get some garbage team that didn't even win their conference playing for the national title, and they shouldn't even be there.
Listen, I think it's because of the parity of this year. Because if you think about it, who would have been the number 1 seeds last year? It would have been Michigan. The byes. It would have been Michigan. It would have been Washington. It would have been Georgia. Or not Georgia, they lost. It would have been Bama. Sorry, it would have been Bama.
Oh, that's right.
And then Texas. Texas wasn't the SEC yet. Those would have been the 4 teams.
Yeah.
Do you think any of those 4 teams would have lost in their game?
It would have probably depended on who they played, but probably not.
Right, when all 4 of those teams lost this year.
Yeah. No.
So I think it's a little bit more on the parity where we get these teams that, yes, maybe they wouldn't have been in. I get that.
Right.
But I'm okay. I hate it. I hate it if Ohio State wins. I don't want them to win.
Yeah,
I hate it. But you can't sit back. Like, for me pioneering or wanting this 12-team, 16-team playoff, I can't then sit back and be like, well, I wanted it, but now
I don't want
the team that I didn't want to win is now winning it, so now I don't want it.
2 teams.
Like, no. I get it, but because it could have easily been Penn State and Texas, or Arizona State almost beat Texas. I don't know if they would beat Ohio State, but it could have been one of those teams, and I'd been like, you know what, I'm okay with it.
Right.
So and it was close too. Like, Texas was close to beating Ohio State. Penn State was very close to beating Notre Dame.
You got to be upset because Michigan beats Ohio State, so you're happy about that.
Correct.
They keep Ohio State from the Big Ten championship game.
Correct.
And if it was last year, they would have eliminated them from the
playoff. I know.
That is like literally the perfect situation to a Michigan season, which was underperforming.
Correct.
But now you're going to sit back and go, God, we beat them, but they don't care because they possibly win a national title.
Correct. But we still, and then they're going to be like, who cares? Because
that's exactly what they're going to say.
But we still have that little asterisk on it.
That's what people are saying. Okay, if you win the national title, great, but there's an asterisk that you lost to your rival.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. I know you've been a big proponent and you're not going to go back on it.
I'm not going to go back on it.
But I'm going to stick with my guns, and I'm still not a big fan yet. I think there needs to be some changes made, like maybe how the seedings are.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about that another time, but.
No, I mean, I agree. I think the biggest one we talked about, and then we'll keep saying it, and we'll probably say it again, is after that first round, why can't they not reseed, but why can't they do the seeding like the NFL playoffs do?
Right. Like, okay, the Commanders won.
So they went to the Lions.
So now they have to go play the Lions, which if you look at a bracket, it wouldn't have worked out that way. But because the way they do it, right. That would be a good idea. Also, what do you think about just the top 12 teams, period? Top 4 get the buys regardless. Doesn't matter.
Okay. Yes.
Doesn't matter conference championship or not.
Okay.
Top 4 out of the top 12.
I still think they should give automatic berths to the conference championships.
Okay.
Because if they don't, it's going to be SEC Big Ten. And while I like the Big Ten outside of Ohio State, and you like the SEC kind of.
Maybe throw Notre Dame in there, but.
It's going to be. I wouldn't. If you didn't give it to the conference championships, think about this. If you didn't give it to the conference championships, Boise State's not in.
Nope.
Clemson's not in. I just said Arizona State is probably not in.
Correct. It would have been Bama.
In the Big Ten, Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, and Indiana would have been in. There would have been 4 for sure. In the SEC, it would have been Georgia, Bama, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Texas. There would have been 6 teams.
Maybe. Let's just go at the top 12 right now.
Okay.
Your top 4 would have been Oregon, Georgia, Texas, and Penn State. So then you would go Notre Dame, Ohio State. Tennessee would be in, like they were. Indiana, Boise still get in. SMU still get in. Bama would be the only difference if you go top 12. But you would have a different 4 teams getting a bye, which apparently that didn't work out for anybody that got a bye this year.
But I'm telling you right now, if it wouldn't have been, if you take out the conference champions, SMU's not up there.
Clemson doesn't get in, but SMU finished.
I don't think SMU. They would have found a way for SMU not to be up there.
That's what you're saying. You're saying that they would rank them differently.
They would rank them differently.
Just because
Yes.
You think there's that much SEC bias. And I'll agree there's SEC bias.
I do. I really do.
But that's a lot.
Listen,
that's a lot.
SMU made it to the conference championship game. So if you're putting that much weight into a conference championship game, outside of like Clemson wasn't up there, but they had 3 losses.
Right.
Like SMU had 1 loss. If that conference championship game, that special, the meaning behind that game is gone, I think they have a reason not to rank SMU that high.
I could see that. And it also, like, for Clemson's sake, you have 3 losses, but this at least gives you a chance because you won a Power 4 conference.
Right.
It kind of gives. So I will go, yes, that makes sense to get Clemson in there.
But if you want to go with the bias part of it, I can get behind that, okay? But I still think then it's going to be 2 Big Ten, 2 SEC almost all the time.
Probably. It might be. Minus maybe a Notre Dame in there.
Correct. But almost all the time. Unless one of those other teams runs a table. Right. And when I mean one of those other teams, I mean Clemson.
Clemson or a random Big 12 team? Probably not for a while.
I mean, there's possible, but I'm like a Clemson. Like, seriously. Or Miami. I guess a Miami or Florida State, maybe. Right. But Florida State's a long way from there. I don't disagree with that. I think the easier one right now, I think, is do the re thing. The other thing I would love to see, and it's not ever going to happen, is the teams that get the bye get to play at home in that first game.
I would 100% agree with you on that, although I don't know how much home field advantage plays into it, but it would be more fun to see.
Yes.
And that's more of a reward than a bye.
Yes.
Getting to play at home.
Yes.
So I would agree with that. 100%. Give those teams that earned the top 4 spots a home game.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah.
Let's just do that next year.
You can do that. They can't do that. They're not going to do that because there's too many bowls.
The bowls is a problem.
There's too many bowls. Yeah. And that's a problem.
We
got the Snoop Dogg Bowl. And we got all that stuff.
Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl.
Yeah. There's too many bowls. I remember it's not too long ago, and I forget how long ago it was. It was like within 15, 20 years. So like it seems like a long time, but really not that. Where a 10-2 Northern Illinois team didn't make a bowl because there wasn't enough bowls.
Right. So now they're like, okay.
Now there's too many.
There's 40 bowls.
There's like 40 bowls. And you know what? I'm
maybe
okay.
More, maybe
I agree. It is rewarding teams for going 500 and getting an extra game. And some of those teams, it's just good to get an extra week or 2 of practice.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not opposed to rewarding teams like that. But you get to so many bowls where like
5-win teams getting bowls.
Right.
On some special occasions. Right. That's a problem.
I mean, at least they're rewarding like academics in that case.
Well, true.
Because that's what they do. If there's not enough, they go to academics in that game. I don't know what the clear-cut answer is. I don't want them to make these sweeping changes after 1 year because it's
2-year contract.
Because that's so reactionary.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's just like, well, this team. It'd be like like when Purdue lost to Farley Dickinson in the basketball tournament, the number one seed
redo the whole
against
thing.
the 16 seed. Well, maybe we should rethink how we do one seeds because the 16. No, they've won twice, but that would be so reactionary. You just. No,
it needs to give at least one more year, maybe another. But the reseeding thing, I think, is a big one, and then home field advantage for those top 4 teams.
It would be great.
Those are the two. Big
it's
things.
Not going to happen because of the bowl. I mean, because of the.
You're just going to reorder who plays who. So, for instance,
the reorder part,
Ohio State wouldn't have to play Oregon,
correct?
Or
because think about it, if who was the last seed, whoever would have been the last seed would have gone and played Oregon. And I mean, you think Oregon would have been happy to see somebody besides Ohio State in that next round?
100%. Yeah. So it would have probably been Arizona State was 4, Texas was 5, Penn State was 6. It would have been Notre Dame at 7. So Notre Dame being the 7th seed would have had to go play Oregon. I mean, that's still a tough matchup.
It's still, I mean, and truthfully, matchup. They should be tough matchups. But
everything should be a good matchup. But if Oregon,
the seeding is right, then playing the 7 seed's better than playing the 5 seed.
Maybe Notre Dame shouldn't have been 7, but they were 7 because you got conference champions, and then you got the group of 5 team in there. Like that's why Notre Dame was down so far.
Yeah. So and then it just it goes to the strength of schedule and that's a tough one because and you brought it up a lot when we were talking about should these SEC schools get in over like Indiana. You brought up the strength of schedule a lot. I agree, strength of schedule should matter, but who decides strength of schedule?
That's my question.
It's
biased.
It's biased. It's very very biased because
you got your writers, you got your coaches,
and we've talked about this so much, and it happens in basketball too. How are the rankings so close? We've talked about this numerous times.
Correct.
But I'll bring it up again. How are the rankings so stinking close to people? Like we've even talked about that. You and I, if we went out to rank every year, maybe we should do that next year when we do in our podcast. We rank our 25 and see.
But we don't talk to each other about it and just see how far off they are.
How far off they are.
Top 8 maybe.
I think we'd be pretty close with the top 5.
It could be wild.
And I think it'd be wild.
It could be wild after that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because you and I definitely look at things similar, but we have our differences about things.
Top 5 for sure are fairly obvious to almost everyone.
Yeah,
but after that, you get down to 15 and 20,
and truthfully, it goes back to it's all for money and it's all for talk and it's all for argument's sake,
which is good for the sport.
Why do they have preseason polls?
No, I'm thinking week 5.
Because you think about that.
Bring it out.
Because that's what hurts some teams. It's what hurt Arizona State a little bit this year. Nobody thought they were going to be any good. People picked them to be at the bottom of the Pac-12. Not the Pac-12. They're not the Pac-12 anymore. The Big 12. And they surprised everybody. And they were a really good team.
Yep.
I think they were better than Boise State.
If you think those two teams play, do you think Arizona State wins?
Yes.
I would agree with that. I think Arizona State beats a couple of teams in this playoff bracket. They almost fooled around and could have beat Texas. Maybe should have beat Texas.
I think they would have. I think they could have beat Georgia.
Yes. Yep. Without Carson Beck, who's now going to Miami, I think they could.
You know why he's going to Miami?
Something's up.
Well, his girlfriend.
Oh, that's right.
One of the Cavinder twins.
Yeah, I did see that.
Because they're
the basketball. Those are basketball.
They're all over the place. Anyways,
those the basketball girls that got famous on social media.
Yes, one of them was pretty good. The other one was okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Let's actually get to the game at hand that's coming up. The national championship game. It's in New Orleans. Which, by the way, that was so awful. What happened in New Orleans on the New Year's Day?
Right after.
That's so sad that happened. Horrific. And but I'm happy everything was safe, and I'm happy they were able to get the Notre Dame Georgia game in when they did. Anyways, they're back in New Orleans. Notre Dame's playing Ohio State. Obviously, Ohio State is the betting favorite to start with.
9.5.
But Notre Dame's defense has been pretty good, and like we said, the 3 best defenses Ohio State's played this year have been Penn State, Michigan, and Texas.
Correct.
And they have struggled at times against them. I think they scored 20 points against Penn State. They scored 10 against Michigan, and they scored
28. But fumble recovery was 7 of them.
But really 21.
Correct. So
offensively.
Right. And if you look at their games against Tennessee and Oregon, they're putting up 40 points. So can Notre Dame's defense, which has been one of the best all year long, take a page out of Texas and Michigan's book and stop Jeremiah Smith from making the big play, make Ohio State drive, and then do not make And Riley Leonard's been good so far, but do not make those big mistakes, whether it's an interception like Drew Eller threw or a fumble or whatever. Like, don't make those big mistakes. And I think Notre Dame could pull this off. But I'm going to go low scoring again, but I said that about the Notre Dame Penn State game, and I was like, it didn't 27-24 is not high scoring, but I thought it'd be lower than
that. Marcus Freeman has shown he's a pretty good coach.
Love that guy. Love that guy.
And you know what? I don't like Notre Dame, but like the Bears have talked about interviewing Marcus Freeman. I don't know if he's ready for the NFL, but I would be okay
that guy
with him.
Yeah.
The emotion he showed and like he puts it all back on the players.
He's all about the team.
And,
love it.
And it's just he does things right from what I see.
Yep.
And I really like that. Like I haven't liked some of the Notre Dame coaches, i.e. Brian Kelly. I wasn't a big Lou Holtz fan.
No, you didn't like
Bob
Lou?
Davie didn't really.
I forget about Bob Davie.
And then who was a big guy that went to Kansas?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, and I'm drawing a blank. He was good for 1 year, and they gave him an extension, and they realized he wasn't great. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank.
I can see him. I can see his
face. He's a big dude.
Well, he wasn't he with the
Patriots?
Patriots. He was the Charlie Weiss.
Charlie Weiss. Yeah. I mean, I didn't really like him. No. I mean, there wasn't anything wrong with him, but I mean, Brian Kelly, I think is
awful. You don't like Brian Kelly?
I don't. Period. I don't like. I mean, if you're talking about coaches, I don't like. It goes Urban Meyer.
Who's up for the Hall of Fame? I think this year.
He can coach football. He's just
not a good dude.
No. And then it goes Brian Kelly.
Wow. All right. Okay.
I mean, who else would be up there?
That's true. I mean, I just really. I dislike. I dislike Saban because he won.
Everybody. But you know what? The more he talks and like when he's in ESPN, like that dude is a good dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he seems like a good dude. He doesn't seem like he's done things wrong. What he yells at players because they weren't doing.
I like, but the thing is, I like that part of it.
Did Alabama I hated Alabama because they were.
Yeah, I was tired of them.
But if you look, were there guys showing off and showboating and then
no, they went out, they played hard, and
you hated Nick Saban because he was good. You hated Bill Belichick because he won. I hate
Tom Brady because he won. But I don't mind him.
I don't mind them. But if you're talking about like coaches that you just like, you don't think are
makes
like
your skin crawl.
Yes, right. Like
Brian Kelly and Urban Meyer. Wow. Okay.
And I mean, is Urban Meyer a big drop and then Brian Kelly?
Yeah, Urban's.
I mean, the only one would be like Petrino.
Oh,
not Joe. Which I don't want to get into Penn State stuff.
No. Like Bobby Petrino. Okay.
He seemed like a little bit of suspect.
Yeah.
I mean, leaving Atlanta in the middle of the season with a note.
Right. This is messed up. No, but Marcus Freeman, Ryan Day can kind of rub me wrong a little bit too.
Yeah.
From what he said last year.
When he went off on Lou Holtz.
About Lou Holtz, I was like, he just seems a little odd. And
if you have to tell people you're not soft.
You're soft.
Yeah.
But Marcus Freeman.
I like
every time he talks, his demeanor on the sidelines, runs a good program there. Like, I like that dude a lot. So I'm definitely rooting for Notre Dame because I mean, Ohio State's not my most hated team, but they're probably in my top 5.
I am.
I mean, it's.
I don't want to make a pick. I don't want to make a pick because I tried to reverse psychology.
You picked Ohio State. This is your fault.
I tried to reverse psychology the same last.
I did too.
With Ohio State and Texas, I thought was going to do it, and they didn't. So
you're not going to make a pick.
I'm not
at all. All right. Well, let's go over under 45.5. Does that go over? That's pretty low.
It's pretty low. I think it's 24-21, which is very possible.
Which is really,
it's 45.
Really easy to do. I thought the Penn State game was going to be lower than it was. I think it was 49, and they ended up with 51 total. So it's like they're right there on that line. I think this is going to go over.
Yeah.
Oh, I think Ohio State can score 20. Probably for sure.
The more we talk about it, the more I think it's going to go under. Like, you just, because 24-21.
But 9.5 point favorite?
I think.
What do you think? Notre Dame's going to score a field goal only?
Right. I don't want to make a pick. I should make a pick. We do this to make picks. Notre Dame covers.
Okay.
Notre Dame covers.
Okay, fair enough. Over, under, you're thinking under.
I mean, that's 24-21 or 25-22. I'm kidding. But 24-21.
This is the same line as the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl is 47.
Oh, that's right.
24. I mean, oh my gosh. Now all of it, because you're right. You think 45.5 is really low, and it is kind of low. But then you're like, what score gives us 45 and 24-21? And all of a sudden you're like,
common one.
I don't know.
You don't think they can get to 24? Anybody can get to 24?
I don't know.
You're thinking 21-17.
Yeah, really.
24-17. I mean, you're thinking
I'm saying Notre Dame covers and it goes under.
Let's say Vegas is really close and 9 points is accurate. You're looking at 21-12.
Good math. Good math.
Like
I mean,
21-13.
24-15 still puts you at 39 points.
Right.
27 or 28.
With Ohio State getting 9.
Yeah.
They're favored by 9.5, but
I don't think they win by 9.
Ohio State would have to win by 10. So now you're looking at 20-10. That puts you at 30 points.
Right. 24-14 is still under.
24-14 is under. 27-17 now.
It's still under, but 28-18, which it's not going to be 28.
No, 27-17.
So what are you saying?
Boy, 27-17 sounds realistic.
Oh my God. Are you saying 27-16?
No. Because I don't think I can do that again. I want Notre Dame to win. Ohio State's just been on a tear.
Except
they haven't played a defense this good.
When they played Michigan.
Okay. Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman, get it done. But I think Ohio State pulls it off. But I don't think they win by 10. They can win by 7. But I think it stays. Nope. I'm going to go with over. I'm going to go with the over. I think there's some more points scored here. Riley Leonard is the better quarterback. I believe that. Riley Leonard is the better quarterback.
Yes, Riley Leonard's the better.
I trust him to win a game. I don't trust Will Howard to win a game, but I think Ohio State can just run the ball and play great defense and probably win this thing 27-20.
Okay.
27-20.
So you're saying over in Ohio State.
Over, but Ohio State doesn't cover, but they win by a touchdown.
I'm saying Notre Dame covers. So you said Notre Dame covers too.
Yes, they cover.
But I'm going under, you're going over.
I'm going to go over.
Okay.
I think there's points.
But you're actually picking Ohio State to win.
I am.
I'm just picking Notre Dame to cover. That could
You're not going to make a pick.
I'm not going to make a pick because
you hate both these teams.
I hate both those teams, and I can't. I don't want to say Ohio State again. And every time I pick against Ohio State, they win. Right. So okay. I'm not. No, I don't want you to pick. I'm not picking.
You're not picking.
I'm not picking. And you call me a chicken. I don't care. But those are my reasons.
You're a Michigan fan. You don't have to pick this game.
All right. I just kind of hope. Well, no, I take that back.
You want to watch a good football game?
Okay, yes and no.
Okay. Or do you want to look awful?
No.
Turnovers.
No.
Fumbles.
Yes, you want a good football game. But would I love Notre Dame to blow Ohio State out? Yes.
Okay.
If Notre Dame wins that game, this is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But if Notre Dame would win that game like 49-7, it'd make me extremely happy.
Gosh, you know why what happened now that you just said that? Ohio State's going to blow out Notre Dame. Dang it. You jinxed it. If Ohio State blows out Notre Dame.
It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great game.
It's okay, good. I think it's still going to be a good game. I don't think Notre Dame's
honestly, I think it's going to be a good game. I don't think it I don't think Notre Dame can blow Ohio State out. Ohio State obviously has the ability to blow anybody out. So I don't think Notre Dame can blow them out.
I think Notre Dame's defense is good enough to keep them in the game regardless.
Yes.
It's just who makes turnovers, who makes stupid penalties. I think Marcus Freeman outcoaches Ryan Day, but I think Ryan Day gets outcoached a lot. He just has so much talent this year.
And that's the thing. If it comes down to coaching, because think about this.
He gets outcoached by Sharon Moore and Jim Harbaugh every year.
Right. Like Dan Lanning at Oregon's a pretty good coach, and I think he outcoached Ryan Day the first game. Yeah. I don't think Ryan Day outcoached Oregon the second game. I think Ohio State just made plays.
Yeah.
I don't think Steve Sarkisian's a great head coach.
No, I think he's a good offensive coordinator.
Correct.
Because he was an offensive coordinator for Saban for a while.
I think Marcus Freeman might be a better coach than Ryan
Day. 100%. Ryan Day just hasn't impressed me.
No, I don't think he's a great head coach.
No.
He can collect talent.
I think he collects
great
talent.
Recruiter.
And I think he's got a pretty good Chip Kelly offensive coordinator over there. That helps too.
But I just don't think he's a great coach.
Has not done anything to show me that he has made coaching moves that has been like, oh my gosh, that was a great idea.
Right.
It just hasn't happened.
All right. Should be a good game, though. I really do believe it's going to be a game.
I think it is going to be a good game. It's this Monday night. Do you like the Monday night game for this?
They're doing it because the NFL playoffs.
Right. I get that.
No, do I love the Monday night games?
I hate the
Monday night. If Michigan was in it, I wouldn't care what day they played on.
Correct.
You'd be the same if Oklahoma was in it.
Yeah, I would stay up to whatever time.
It'd be Thursday at 2 in the morning.
I'm up. But
are you? Well, I don't know if you can make it.
It says 7:30 start time, our time, Eastern time.
So it's probably gonna be like.
But it's almost like 8 o'clock.
So it's gonna be like 7:52.
Yeah. By the time they fool around and get everything going, it's gonna be 8 o'clock. And now my bedtime's at 10:30. That's halftime.
That's 10:30.
10:30. That's pushing it.
10:30 is pushing it. You're getting a little old.
10:15.
All right. That's the other thing.
That's coming up.
That's what the Big Ten going out west. Michigan played and I know we'll get to the NFL in a second. Michigan played a Big Ten conference game against UCLA at 10 p.m. on a weekday.
Awful.
And in my head, I'm like, I'm not going to watch it. I got to wake up early in the morning. I watched it.
Yeah, you did watch it.
I mean, Michigan won, so it made me very happy. But it's just like, what? Like, that's
Oklahoma basketball plays at 10 o'clock tonight, Wednesday night. 10 o'clock.
Who are they playing?
I can't remember. I think Tennessee or something.
No, they're not playing Tennessee. Tennessee's playing Georgia right now.
I can't remember who they're playing, but I'm like, why are we playing? It's not even I don't even think it's a West Coast team.
10
I want to say it's an SEC team, but is it Texas?
It's at Oklahoma.
They're playing in Norman at
that's Central Time.
9 o'clock. But still, that's a late kick. Tip off.
That's not a kickoff.
That's not a kickoff.
That's a tip off. They're playing Texas. You're not. Are you going to stay up for that game?
I'll watch 15 minutes of it. I'll watch maybe half of the first half.
Half of the first half. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's kick over to the NFL after we get done with all that stuff. All right. Got a question for you.
Go.
The Texans whipped the Chargers. The Bills whipped the Broncos. The Eagles handled the Packers. And the Steelers were the Steelers. Were those four teams? Were they?
They shouldn't have been there.
Did they
right?
belong?
Shouldn't have belonged.
Did they belong? Because the Chargers lost by 20, the Broncos lost by 24, the Packers only scored 10 points, and the Steelers looked lost for most of their game. According to a lot of the pundits for college football, those teams didn't belong.
I will agree the Broncos didn't belong. I think they got in through a loophole there when the Chiefs decided not to play their starters. So I'm going to say Broncos did not belong. But what the Packers do all year, they proved that they probably were one of the better teams. The Chargers had a pretty good season. And the Texans just came out and whipped them. Actually, I think most people thought the Chargers were going to win that.
I 100%
think
did.
I picked that too.
And then, I forgot
the
the 14-3 Vikings lost by 18 and weren't really in that game either.
Sam Darnold is who we thought he was.
Yeah.
Actually, he didn't play that bad. He just didn't play that good.
He didn't.
And he got sacked 9 times.
That's tough.
That is rough. Now, did he hold on to the ball too long? A few of those times. Yes, but then that's just are the Rams coming on their own? They covering like 245 for a touchdown and a pick, sacked 9 times for 82 yards. That's awful.
I mean, he did throw for 36 more yards than Matt Stafford.
But when you get sacked and you go behind the chains that many times, good luck.
Yeah,
good luck.
Yeah.
The Vikings fans were like, we won 14 games. This is our year, and you're out.
Remember the last time they won that many games and they had a big chest and they thought they were going to make it?
Is that the Randall Cunningham, Randy Moss years?
Yeah, and then
Falcons.
Morton Anderson.
Yeah.
Shanked the field goal, and the Falcons beat him.
The Falcons beat him that year. Went to, what was that, 98?
And then the Falcons got hammered by the
98 was it the Broncos?
Yeah.
The Dirty Bird Falcons. Was Dion?
Yes. No, that was that running back.
Yeah, Jamal Lewis. Was that Jamal Lewis?
No, it wasn't Jamal Lewis. We could say any name right now.
At least they wouldn't name. Yeah.
Anyways, I am half joking about that, but
not really.
This is what we were talking about. Like with these teams, you get these teams, and they like the Vikings were better than that. You know.
Well, the Rams weren't really that special.
But you have bad games, and that doesn't necessarily mean you don't belong. It just means you had a bad game. Or it's a bad matchup. I mean, the Rams beat them earlier this year also. So, sometimes it's just a bad matchup. Now, I know there's a little bit more an argument in college football because it's all by polls and stuff where this is records. So, you win the games, but at the same time, it's an unbalanced schedule. You talk about the unbalanced schedules in college football because some of those teams have those non-conference schedules that suck like Indiana's did. But, you finish last place in the NFL. You have a last place you're playing 3 last place teams from the year before, and actually 4 now because you go across into the 8. Let's say the Bears. Yeah. The Bears are in last place. They're going to play the last place team from the East, the West, the South, and then they're going to go play the last place team from some team in the AFC. So they're playing 4 last place teams, whereas the Lions are going to play 4 first place teams. Right,
exactly. Or if you win the Super Bowl, you're going to have a harder schedule.
No, the Super Bowl
doesn't even factor with it.
It's all how you finish in the division.
Jeez, I always thought if you won the Super Bowl, you should have the hardest schedule.
Well, I mean, I understand that, but no, it all comes back to, like, if you're in first place, you play the first place teams in every division in your league.
That makes sense,
Yeah, but it's try to even it out. They're trying for parity, and that's why you see teams go from last to first, unless you're the New York Jets.
Correct. Well, and the good thing about this year, there was a couple of, I guess, upsets in the NFL playoffs. The Texans and the Chargers, I think, was technically an upset.
And the Commanders beat the Bucs.
Commanders beat the Bucs, so good job there. But now, Commanders, good luck with Detroit. Right? That's your prize.
That was the one thing that surprised me. I thought all the games on Sunday were going to go over because the Bills scored a lot of points with the Broncos. The over was 48. They scored 38. I thought the Eagles and the Packers were going to go over because both those teams could score. It went for 32. It went under. I 100% thought the Commanders and Bucs were going to go over. And they scored 43 points. So the defenses come out in the playoffs.
Well, I think we talked about that a little bit. Like, the Broncos came out first drive, big pass play, touchdown. You're thinking, okay, the Broncos are going to maybe make this a game, and then they did nothing the rest of the time. People show up. People take plays off in the regular season. Maybe they sit out some plays. Not in the playoffs. Everyone is fully locked in, 100% ready to go. Bills are going to be tough. All these teams are going to be tough to beat. I think the Commanders are maybe in some trouble. The Rams, though. You like the Rams at all?
So here's where we got in the divisional round. We might have one of the best divisional round games I've seen in a long time.
There's a couple of them.
Yeah. And it's going to be Sunday night, the Ravens and the Bills. The Ravens throttled the Bills earlier this year, but the Bills have played really well since then.
But you just mentioned matchups.
And, but this is the time can Lamar Jackson kind of get over the hump. He got to the SEC Championship game last year, but then he kind of laid an egg. Right. Can he get the hump against the Bills? And now this is at Buffalo.
And Buffalo's tough. And Zay Flowers is kind of hurt or banged up, that wide receiver for the Ravens.
Yeah.
But you looked at the first time they played, he had like 10 yards. So he's not – he needs to be out there, but he's not a huge factor. Derrick Henry needs to be a factor. I know he's getting up there,
really
but
good.
He looked really good.
Really, and he went for like 186 yards against the Steelers.
He has to be on his game. And like you said, Lamar Jackson has to finally make good decisions and don't make that one play that cost you the game.
The Bills are riding high. You know that place is going to be rocking. Buffalo, they love their Bills.
It's going to be crazy.
Josh Allen has been playing really well. This is
Baltimore's a favorite, technically.
This is the matchup of what looks like who's going to be 1 and 2 in MVP voting. I still think it should go to Josh Allen. I think it might go to Josh Allen just because of the MVP fatigue. But Lamar Jackson has won the player of the year in like the Associated Press, whatever it is.
Right. Do you think MVP's more stats or like how your team does, or is a little bit of both?
I think first of all, you need to be a quarterback.
Well, that seems to be.
It's not.
That seems to be the true, first thing.
Like you got to be a quarterback. Your team obviously has to play really well, and then stats. But I think they take into account a little bit of what you did for your team, as opposed to just stats.
It has to be, because let me read you some stats real quick. 2 quarterbacks. All right, 3,897 passing yards. 28 passing touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 63% completion percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterback 1. Quarterback 2, 3,731 passing yards, 28 passing touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 63.6% completion percentage. One of those guys is up for MVP. The other one's not even in the conversation.
The other one's Baker Mayfield, isn't it?
No, Aaron Rodgers.
No, it's not.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers.
No, he did not.
38-97, 28 passing touchdowns, 11 picks, 63%. Not even the thing. That's why when you said it's more about what you did for your team, that has to be the stats. The stats have to be there. But the other guy was Josh Allen, obviously.
I can't believe that was Aaron Rodgers. I didn't think he threw for that many yards this year.
And of course, somebody put on there Aaron Rodgers' bad years or MVP years for everybody else. Well, okay, but your team won 4 games.
When Aaron Rodgers was at his best, he was unbelievable.
Oh, for sure.
He never threw interceptions.
Yeah.
And he was sneaky. He wasn't the fastest guy in the world, but he was tough to get down.
Yeah, he was just
now he's I remember when the Bears had, oh my gosh, who won the Super Bowl for the Eagles? Oh my gosh, what was his name?
A quarterback?
Yeah.
Before Hurts?
Yeah. He came in because Carson Wentz was hurt.
Oh, Nick Foles.
All right. Cool story. Helped win the Super Bowl. Bears signed him. That dude was like a statue back there. He could not move.
Nope.
And that's exactly what Aaron Rodgers is now.
Yeah.
Like if you blitz him and you get on him, he cannot move.
It's over.
But he can still make some throws. But he made some stupid throws in his prime.
Oh.
Just ridiculous. He could drop it in anywhere.
How many of those times he had those Hail Marys that he was throwing up there?
He was one of the best at just dropping balls in. Now, another guy that just is weird. But he was really good. He was not – you can't be 4 and whatever and even be considered for the MVP.
Correct. That's why when you said team success, you have to lead a team to be successful.
You take Aaron Rodgers off the Jets this year, they win 4 games.
Probably.
You take Josh Allen off the Bills, they are not 13-4.
They win 4 games.
They might win 4 games. And the same thing with the Baltimore Ravens. If you take Lamar Jackson off that, and I'm not saying take Lamar Jackson off and replace him with Josh Allen. I'm talking about a backup.
Yeah.
Because that's what you have to do.
Yeah, or not saying put Aaron Rodgers on the Bills. Because they'll be good. So they're not.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm talking about putting your backup. If you took Aaron Rodgers out and put the backup in for the Jets this year, I still think they probably win 4 games.
They screw around and win 4. Their defense is okay enough. They run the ball enough.
But Allen, the Bills are still pretty
500.
good. 500, Ravens same way.
Yeah.
Well, Derrick Henry, so maybe they're above 500 because of Derrick Henry.
Maybe not even make the playoffs.
But yeah, seriously. So I think that has to do a lot with MVP. I think when you get to like your Associated Press player and stuff like that, I think that might be a little bit more stats. But I think MVP, most valuable player.
Most valuable, yeah.
Carries
the team to
AP Player of the Year is one thing. Most valuable player, I think, should mean something else.
I agree.
That's why I think Josh Allen should win it.
Yeah, 100%.
If Lamar Jackson would win it, I would not complain.
No,
if Saquon Barkley won it, I would not complain. Saquon Barkley has no shot at winning.
I would like to see somebody other than a quarterback. Correct. Maybe he'll just be in the conversation for a year.
Yes, and really, if you go even like to the Heisman Trophy, the only reason Travis Hunter won is because it wasn't an outstanding quarterback this year.
There wasn't a dominant one.
There wasn't.
No. There was few good guys.
that led the league in passing was the guy that was at Syracuse that played for Ohio State.
Oh, that's right.
Just drawing blanks.
Drawing blanks.
We're drawing blanks. We're getting old. We're drawing blanks. Anyways, let's get back to the NFL. We've got about 10 minutes left here, so let's make
Jamal Anderson for the Falcons.
Nice. Did you just pull that out of?
No, I looked it up.
Oh, no. You're like one of those guys that like you're in like trivia and you're like you're not supposed to look at your phone. You sneak your phone and all of a sudden, yeah, I know that. That's pretty good.
It's Jamal. Dirty words, Jamal.
It was. Okay. He was pretty good.
All right, I'm gonna think of that Syracuse quarterback now.
Oh my gosh, what was his name?
I'm not gonna look that up. He was just with Ohio State last year,
and he's now declaring for the NFL draft.
Dave?
No, we're not talking about Wendy's.
Daniel?
No. Noonan?
Daniel
Noonan?
Noonan? It's a Noonan miss.
Yeah, that was on TV the other day.
I'm gonna have to Caddyshack was.
Caddyshack. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's one of my favorite movies.
I watched that for the first time with my dad.
Oh,
he forgot there were some scenes.
There was some inappropriate.
My dad loved that movie. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to look up Syracuse quarterback.
Yeah, let's do that just real quick before we get to the NFL game.
Because that's gonna
we're going
Kyle McCord.
I would have not have got there.
No.
I would not have got there today.
But now that we said it, I'm like, duh.
I would, but there was no part of me that
he had a great season for them.
He had a wonderful season.
When they went 9 games out there, 9, 10 games, whatever they won,
Yeah.
Take him off that team that maybe 500. It might not be a bowl game. Like he's declaring for the draft. Okay, he might get picked up by somewhere.
I don't.
Quinn Ewers is going to the draft too.
Yes,
I think he should probably transfer instead of going to the draft.
He can make more money.
Correct.
Well, no, maybe not because the NFL pays a lot.
Well, that's true.
Anyways, let's get to we're going so far off track right now.
That's right.
NFL playoffs. As usual, the Texans are playing the first game on Saturday. They're playing the Chiefs. If you don't remember, the last time the Texans and the Chiefs played this in the playoffs, I think the Texans jumped out to like a 28-0 lead.
I do remember that. Was that
quarter and a half,
4 or 5 years ago?
Like that. And then the Chiefs just put it in drive. I think they scored 3 touchdowns in the second quarter, and it was like you just saw the Texans just melt away. But you know what? I didn't think the Texans had a shot against the Chargers, and they were getting dominated in the first half.
They were
dominated.
They could do nothing.
And then all of a sudden, C.J. Stroud fumbles the ball, picks it up, throws it for 19 yards, and then all of a sudden their offense
they're
is
on
like,
fire.
We can do whatever
we can do anything.
And then Justin Herbert forgot what color his team was wearing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true too.
Somebody said he throws a very pretty interception.
He does. He throws a good one. Listen, when you go to Kansas City in the playoffs and you have to face Patrick Mahomes and Taylor Swift and Andy Reid, because you know she's going to be there. My wife's going to want to watch this game because of Taylor Swift. It's just so hard.
And Patrick Mahomes just had his third kid.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
On the bye week. It's almost like they planned it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Probably
that's
did.
how Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
That's how.
I know.
That's how good. That's how good he is. So we're gonna die. We're gonna write this down and figure out the math. No. Gosh. Okay. Congrats, Patrick. That's fun. You can't beat the Chiefs at home. Not the Texans.
No, not the Texans. I don't think the Chiefs are making it back to the Super Bowl because I think the Ravens or Bills are going to.
Correct.
But I don't think the Texans beat them. But then again, like I said, I thought the Texans were dead in the water. They were playing awful to end the season, and they found a way to.
I mean, I hope they do.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to.
They're not going to. Chiefs win. Do they cover 8? Yeah, I think so.
No,
you're going to say no. You're going to say
7.
Texas.
They win by 7.
Okay, so Texas keep it competitive
because the Chiefs
really haven't. That's true. The Chiefs really haven't blown anybody
2013.
Out. Okay.
17-10.
Actually, I like that.
17-10.
Yeah, Chiefs aren't putting up a ton of points.
All right, the Commanders, nice story. They get their first win their first playoff win since 2006.
Congratulations, they
Congratulations, them. They, I think, a little bit got lucky because they were playing the Bucs. They're not playing the Bucs anymore.
No, I know the Lions' defense is down. Lions 9.5. They're gonna cover that.
The Lions' defense is down, and they still
dominate.
Play pretty well.
Yeah.
That Lions' offense is so good. It is so good.
You're gonna have to score a lot of points here,
and the Commanders can, but they're not going to.
I would go with the over though, 55.5. I think the Lions can put up 35.
Oh yeah,
and maybe the Commanders get 20,
35-20,
21, 35-21, something like that.
I think the Lions win. I think they cover. It's 9.5. It's a big line. I think the Lions cover.
Yeah,
This Lions team, they made to the not this one. Last year they made it to the NFC Championship game and were half away.
They're on a mission.
They look different this year. I mean, they lost 2 games. One of them was to the Bills in a wildly entertaining game, and the other one was surprisingly against the Buccaneers in week 2. They're good. They're really good.
Yeah, that's
they're just really
good. The Lions, though, I mean, are they going to be rusty? Come on, I don't think so. I think they are focused. Good luck.
I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is playing great. Oh, and then they have Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams. And Sam Laporta and Jared Goff's playing pretty well.
Yeah, they're going to be just fine.
They're okay. They're good. All right, Sunday, Rams and Eagles. The Rams a little bit of surprise. Eagles did their job against the Packers. I thought it might be a little bit closer, but the Packers just really struggled. The Eagles are 6.5-point favorites. I mean, all signs kind of point to the Eagles winning easily.
Yeah, the Rams.
But the Eagles' offense hasn't looked great either. So
the over-under 43.5. That seems low.
I think it is low, but I think they're going to hit the under.
Yeah,
I don't think these teams
a lot of points.
Like neither one of them's offense really impressed me right now. I mean, Stafford has Nakua and Kupp, and they're not doing a lot right now.
Right, and those are 2 solid players.
And the Eagles still have Jalen Hurts as their quarterback.
So who are you picking here?
I think the Eagles win, but I think it's close. And like literally, I think it's like it could be like 17-14.
It's in Philly, which if it wasn't in Philly, I don't know. Eagles favored by 6.5. My brain says the Eagles, but my gut's telling me the Rams. I like that. I'm going to go with the upset on the Rams here.
Okay, go with the Rams.
Sorry, Philly.
By the way, if you didn't know this before now, there are cameras everywhere. So if you're a fan, maybe not call a fan from another piece. Like words that you shouldn't say, because it's going to get. And the internet is undefeated when it comes to this stuff. They find you. They found him awfully quick,
busted,
and he is banned for. Have you seen this?
Is it live?
For life. From I don't know if it's all NFL games, but from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Oh, and he got fired.
Oh, did they fire? I didn't see that fire. Okay, so you get Listen, Drink responsibly.
Like I'm not saying he should necessarily lose his job because of that, but at the same time,
it looks bad.
It looks very bad for your company, and
yep.
all of a sudden, if you're a company that does anything that's any bit of you need to talk to another company or anything like that, they don't want that guy that's there. What are you doing?
Over a football game?
Over a football game, I talk trash. And if we go to the Michigan-Oklahoma game next year, I'm going to talk trash.
We're going to talk trash to each other.
And we're going to be friends. Yeah. And we may say some curse words, but it's not going to be calling anybody's name.
No.
And it'll probably be curse words because my team's not playing well or your team's not
Correct.
playing well. But what does it come to a fact that you have to call out somebody that's doing nothing? From all accounts, looks like it. She was doing nothing but cheering for her team, and you just went off on her.
For no reason
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Right.
Like, it's not that deep.
Using words that definitely bad choice of word, like the worst choice of words possible.
Right.
And I don't know, was that her husband that was
taping or something
next to her?
Whoever it was
because I heard that one guy said you can't talk to her like that or something like that, which I agree. But yeah, this is a football game. They're there just to watch the football game. Like
and your team's dominating.
Like what are you doing? Like it's not a close game. Your team's not even losing. And you got to go out and say that? Come on, man. And you're right. Cameras are everywhere.
Yes. Like somebody said,
everywhere.
I'm glad that I grew up when I grew up because I did a lot of dumb stuff. I'm not saying me in general. There were some things we did.
Right, for sure.
But nobody was there taping us.
Correct. Right. Everyone has a camera.
Yes, everybody does.
And there's cameras everywhere that you go.
And if the camera's not on you, your phone's listening to you.
Exactly. So you're in trouble either way.
So just stop.
Make better choices. It's a football game.
Yes, thank you.
You know, if you want to have some fun
cheering, talk a little trash,
back and forth, like, your team sucks. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, but when you get personal, you don't need to get personal. Yeah. You don't need to get personal. All right, I'm going Eagles. In spite of that,
I'm going to go Rams.
You're going Rams.
I'm going to go Rams.
Ravens and Bills. Your second favorite team versus my Super Bowl pick. I don't know if it's actually your second favorite team, but you seem to like it a lot.
I just think they have a good chance.
I'm really excited for this game. Baltimore's a 1-point favorite. Like I said, they won easily in the regular season. I think it was in Baltimore, though. Either way, it wasn't as cold as it's going to be now.
Yeah, it's different, yeah.
I think Josh Allen handles the cold better than Lamar Jackson. I was going to Jackson Lamar, but Lamar Jackson. I like the Bills. They've been my pick. I should have picked them at the very beginning of the year, but I decided to pick the Bengals. But they've been my pick since about midway through the year. I'm sticking with the Bills. I still want to see Bills Lions in the Super Bowl. So Bills over the Ravens.
I mean,
and obviously they cover because they're not a favorite.
Baltimore favored by a point.
I'm
in Buffalo.
A little surprised, but
what does Vegas know?
Well, they have a game they played earlier this year.
So that's the only thing they have to be going off of. People are saying the matchup here, the Ravens have the advantages for the matchup, but you have Josh Allen at home.
Yeah.
Who he's going to outplay Lamar Jackson. Like if you're betting money, I would say Josh Allen's probably going to outplay Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson's going to make a mistake and lose the game for him. But like you said, I've been high on the Ravens for the last couple seasons. I'm gonna stick with my Ravens, even though if they lose, I'm not surprised at all. But I'm gonna stick with the Ravens. Win by a field goal in Buffalo.
All right. I'm going Bills.
I gotta stick with them.
I'm going Bills to win. So for me, I got Bills Chiefs, which would be interesting because the Bills they got over the Chiefs hump in the regular season. They haven't done it in the postseason. That'd be very interesting. Lions, Eagles, I have because those are the two best teams in the NFC. They've been the two best teams in the NFC. The Vikings look like they could have been, but it's been the Lions and the Eagles. I think the only thing I think would be better for the two would be the Lions and Eagles in the NFC and the Ravens and Bills in the AFC for the championship.
That would be
because I just think both those teams right now are better than the Chiefs. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of good games. I think the Lions Commanders, I think that game has a possibility to be a blowout. I think all the other ones are going to be close. I think the Texans keep it close with the Chiefs because they just haven't they still have Patrick Mahomes, but their offense hasn't been that explosive.
The Chiefs are not scored. 30 points is that's their top end.
It's like their kryptonite.
That's their top end. It's 30 points. I think if the Texans can keep them under that, it'll be a close game.
Yeah. I'm excited for this weekend. It should be a lot of good games. We have Monday off because it's Martin Luther King Day.
That's correct.
So
we'll watch the national title
game. We'll be back after that. We'll talk about the championship game, wrap up the college football season, and then we'll be talking about NFC, AFC championship games next week when we come back. Until then, I am Adam.
I'm Tony. Thanks for listening.